Let me pretend I'm new. Let me pretend we haven't talked it out. We've been through everything I said was true.
Ready, set, go.
Hot off the stove, episode 3.
Yes, sir. We are back.
Back in the basement.
Yep.
It was a great week for new music. We got some great picks for you. We're going to go through some Grammy picks this episode. That coming up next week. We got a great guest who I'll introduce here soon. But let's start off, Caleb. Give me some new music this week that our listeners missed out on.
Yeah, definitely. So I have this one artist. His name is Wesley Joseph. The song I've been listening to by him has been Creep. And it's really just like a dark R&B track. It's a lot of atmospheric vibes. Pretty much like my music go-to. A lot of atmospheric stuff. A lot of reverb, a lot of just synthy stuff. So it's more of my lane, but that song is fire. And then I also have a song by this underground artist named Ethel, Passing Ships, an R&B song. And yeah, she's a beautiful singer. The production is crazy. And yeah, it's just a all around banger. And I'll say my next song is from the Lyrical Lemonade album.
That was a good album.
That album was crazy. I loved it. But yes,
which one are you gonna say? Because I have one on here too that I liked.
I was gonna say Your Grace.
All right. I got a different one.
But I also have Fallout.
I liked the one First Night with Tizo, Juicy J.
Oh yeah.
I thought the energy on that track so good. Like did not feel like a mainstream rap song in like today's modern scene, but like the artists it was Tizo, Juicy J,
and Denzel, right?
Denzel, yeah. And I'm gonna butcher it. I think is it Koshi?
Cochise.
Thank you.
His manager was in one of our classes.
Yeah, Veli.
Yeah, Veli came.
I like Veli.
Yeah,
Veli's cool as shit.
Yeah.
He was cool. But yeah, so that I like that song. But Say Your Grace was good too. So I'll let you keep going.
Yeah. So Say Your Grace. And I think Fallout was also another favorite. With Gus Dapperton and Lil Yachty. And who else is on that song? I forget.
I'm checking right now.
Yeah,
that one's one of the more. Joey Badass.
Yeah, Joey Badass. Yeah. So yeah, those are my two. But yeah,
I like that. I like those picks. For me, I'm gonna go with an artist who I'd never heard of before. It's 21 Lil Harold, featuring JID. It's called Sundown, and I just want to shout out the sample on this song. So good. It's such a cool vibe. Really great lyrics, and also shout out JID for a little Philly reference in there. A little Philly reference in his verse. He said he used to go to the Wachovia before it was the Wells Fargo. I thought that was a little cool shout out for Philly. But yeah, that was a great song. Really like the energy on that one. And then my other pick this week, a song by an artist also I'd never heard of before, Black Odyssey, called Want You. You know Black Odyssey?
Yep.
First introduction. Really cool. Kind of atmospheric, but just love the vibe, the overall vibe on the track. A little groovy, but also a little melancholy and weird. It was a little different direction than stuff I usually listen to. So I found it pretty good. And the last one I want to shout out, this song was on repeat for me this week. It's about 40 years old. And it was very popular when it came out by Flock of Seagulls, Iran. I had never heard the song, but I heard it in a reel, and I was like, I recognize that song. I've definitely heard it somewhere, but I never played it. And then it's been in my discography just over and over again this week. It was crazy. But yeah, shout out a Flock of Seagulls too on that.
Yes.
I love getting reintroduced to old music. That was either popular or not popular. There's just so much good music out there that you don't think of or remember, and to get reintroduced to that stuff I always enjoy that.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I like about music the most. I think is just it's like a camera.
Mm-hmm.
You look back, you listen to certain songs.
It's like
just
Snapchat
a-
memories.
Just like it's like looking back into the past. Yeah. So.
But yeah, that's cool.
Can I throw in a pick?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes. I'm finally included.
Definitely.
The song Instincts by Eric the Architect with West Side Boogie. Beautiful. I love West Side Boogie. It's so smooth. Eric goes crazy. Simple hook. Love the track. Very simple production.
Cool.
I like it a
I
lot.
like that.
Put it on the screen. Me.
Yes, and also these songs will be posted on our Stovetop Radio playlist. By the time you see this, we have to drop that soon. By the way, so yeah, that will be out.
A little reminder mid podcast, so we need to drop what we've been saying has been dropped for the past 2 weeks.
I've also dropped the playlist as well, with under Sir Autry on Instagram. So
Personal
go check
shout
that
out.
I've collaborated with Kid Phantom. He's a recording artist out of Philly. He's great. Definitely alternative R&B vibes. So I've collaborated with him on that playlist. Got some songs that match his vibe. So yeah, go check that out.
Shout out to you. That playlist is excellent. Excellent. I love collab playlists too.
Thank you.
And like when artists like go in and make their own playlist, I always find that really cool because I think it shows like who that artist is listening to, right? And who's inspiring them like currently and maybe what's inspired them in the past to make that music. And it kind of gives you like a back door into the artist's like psyche, how they're making music and what style they're trying to emulate or build on.
Mm-hmm.
And I always find that that's super interesting. It's like, you know, reading about someone through their music choices. It's
Right.
really cool.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Like, definitely. So do you want to move into you know what I'm about to say?
This week, or I guess next weekend, with Grammys are coming up. This is always a controversial time, especially for, you know, people who are in the music industry and really understand the music industry and listen to a lot of music. To say the least, seeing some of the nominations are always a little disheartening because we know there's so much good music out there that doesn't always get nominated or awarded or, you know, given that screen time and praise. So we will go through our Grammy picks for a few categories this week. And the first one that we're going to go over is Album of the Year. Some very interesting choices from the Academy on this category, including John Baptiste, World Music Radio, Boy Genius, The Record, Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus, Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey, The Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe, Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, Midnights by Taylor Swift, and SOS by SZA.
Yes.
So what are you thinking for this category?
So I'm thinking SOS by SZA. I definitely think she had the strongest album of the year. And I think, it's just a really strong album. Definitely my personal favorite. I also think Olivia Rodrigo and Boy Genius had some crazy albums this year too. And then Taylor Swift as well. But I think if I had to pick three, it's definitely going to be SZA, Taylor, Olivia.
I agree with you in the most part. I think, you know, outside of the Miley Cyrus album and the Taylor Swift album, like, I'm okay with all these picks. I think the John Baptiste album was pretty good. The Boy Genius record, The Record, I have a sneaking suspicion that it might pull off a dark horse win here. The Lana record's great. The Janelle Monáe record's great. But I have to agree with you. I think it's between SOS, Guts, and The Record, just because of kind of the cultural analysis surrounding it. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to win. It's an all right Taylor Swift album. But again, you know, getting nominated for a Grammy for something kind of, it's just so, I don't know.
Get him! Everyone get him!
I'm not, you know, crapping on Taylor Swift. She's gonna be in the Super Bowl now, you know. But I
Swifties, take him out.
I think it's between those three. I would love to see Olivia Rodrigo get it. I think that album was really good. I think it's really hard to create an interesting sophomore album that captures the same vibe of your first album, and especially for her first album was so huge, right?
Right.
To build on that and to have giant songs from there, I think it really established her as going forward a huge player in the music industry, who's going to be selling out stadiums, who's going to be selling out arenas. And I think we've seen a lot of times in the industry where people have this great first effort because it's so inspired, it's so raw, it's they're still climbing to that pinnacle, the top, and when they reach it, it's hard to recapture that energy. And I think she did a great job in capturing energy still, in capturing the same vibe, but at the same time very different. So kudos to her. I thought that was a great album, and kudos to the songwriters and producers on that one too. I think I'm going to go with Olivia Rodrigo, but would not be surprised if SOS or Boy Genius take it home too.
Okay.
Moving on, we got Best New Artist. And this category, I'm very impressed with. I think they nailed it. Maybe not all these artists are new, especially to us, but to the mainstream, I want to rename this category Best New Mainstream Artist.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean, because these are definitely not these artists have been around for the past
at least 5 years.
Yeah,
at least 5 years. Like Noah Khan, I'll go through them, but Noah Khan had a gold single in 2017, right? Yeah. It's not like he's necessarily new. He didn't just start releasing music this year. I honestly think Ice Spice is maybe this actual new artist within the last year who really blew
Fred again
up.
too.
Fred again, yeah,
Fred
too.
again
I guess
too.
in the last year, Fred again. But again, mainstream, they could have been. But the artists, Gracie Abrams, Fred again, Ice Spice, Jelly Roll, Coco Jones, Noah Khan, Victoria Monet, and The War and Treaty. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Victoria, only because of all of the she's been around for a while, making some waves in the R&B world, but I think this was the year where she really crossed over into that she's a hit maker. Her song has been on the radio for a while now, and just it's been everywhere on My Mama, I think the name of it is. It's a great song. Then I also think Ice Spice, of course, just because she's been around for a while, making some noise. And
I think Ice Spice would be a interesting pick for the Academy, because she is honestly possibly the biggest new artist on here with Noah Khan. Just in terms of selling out shows and song numbers, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it would be an interesting choice. I think all these artists are great picks. I don't think you can go wrong with whoever you pick here. I agree, Victoria Monet. And also Coco Jones, they're both nominated for Best R&B Album. Victoria's nominated for Best Record, maybe. So I wouldn't be surprised with any of these. I hope it's Noah Khan. I love Noah Khan. He's my favorite. So I'm pulling for him. But honestly, all these artists are really good and probably deserve at least that nomination. So kudos to the Academy on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll move into some rap songs. If you want to introduce the best rap songs.
Yep. So for the best rap songs, we have "Attention" by I'm going to butcher this name. Rogage.
Well, that's Doja.
Oh, okay. This is I didn't see that. Okay, "Attention" by Doja Cat. Barbie World by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. Then we also have "Just Wanna Rock" by Lil Uzi. We have "Rich Flex" by Drake and 21 Savage, and then we have "Scientists and Engineers" by Killer Mike featuring Andre 3000, Future, and Aaron Allen Kane.
I mean, that should win. That should win.
Yeah.
Scientists and Engineers.
Quality wise, yeah, I think that's the But at the same time, I think
it's a songwriter award. Right. How is "Just Wanna Rock" on here?
I thought we were doing rap. This is rap songs.
It's rap songs, but at the top here you can see it's a songwriter award. A song is eligible if it's released in the eligibility year. I
think part of it is just Wanna Rock had the whole world on hold.
That's true.
A while.
That's true. It's a big public song, obviously,
yes.
But I mean,
But if you're going to say songwriter, like
Yeah, if you're gonna say songwriter, like even Barbie World too, like that's not necessarily a lyrical masterpiece either. I think again you have to take in the context of how successful the song was too. They're not gonna nominate every random song, but I mean I hope Scientists and Engineers win. That's definitely the best song on this, and yeah,
I agree. I think for me I'm picking Just Wanna Rock.
Cool.
Just because I'm from Philly.
Cool.
And it's like
all right, last pick here, best rap album. We got Her Loss, Drake and 21 Savage, which feels like it got released ages ago. Michael by Killer Mike, Heroes and Villains by Metro Boomin, King's Disease 3 by Nas, which the Academy has eaten up the last two King Disease, so how about make it a three-peat for Nas. Utopia by Travis Scott.
For me personally, I think my favorite would be Utopia.
Yeah, I would say too. I think Utopia would be a big win here.
But I do think, knowing how the Grammys have been in the past, Nas will win with King's Disease 3.
I hope not. I hope it's Travis. I agree with you. And I mean, Heroes and Villains is really interesting because it's a producer album.
Yeah.
And it is a rap album. It's really good, but it's hard to like give someone a Grammy when they really haven't. They didn't rap or they didn't songwrite on that album. I don't know. It's a weird conundrum there where it's a great album, but
that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Like
I think that definitely should be in the. I don't know. I don't even know. Like maybe a producer category for producer albums. Like,
I mean, they're becoming more and more common. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it its own.
That would be crazy.
Own category. But yeah, all right, let's go with Utopia there.
Yeah, Utopia.
Lock it in. Those are our Grammy picks. We'll see if we're right.
Yep.
Lock in the parlay right there.
So now we'll introduce our guest for today. We have Alex Theodorakos. He's a music industry student here at Drexel. And he's a talent buyer, artist band manager for Carlia, and band manager for Control the Sound. So he's booked his artists in multiple shows, such as venues like the Sultan Room and the Apollo Theater, and he's doing pretty well with it. So brought him on here to explain just a little bit of what he does on the daily. So let's get a round of applause for our guest, Alex.
The awesome. Double applause.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Of course,
This is awesome.
So just want to know a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're from. What got you into music?
Well, I could go on and on about that. I'm from New York. I grew up in the city. Still live in the city technically. What got me into music is it's kind of hard to say. It's like a combination of things. I want to say there's definitely influence from my parents. Mm-hmm. I think just the first songs and albums that I got into were probably my dad's. I used to take his CDs and I would download them.
Burn them up?
Yeah, exactly. I think another big part of it is just I used to commute to school a lot. Mm-hmm. And I always had my earbuds in. Right. So it was I guess it was comforting to me. So that's another big part of it too, is whenever I would take the bus to school or the train to school, I always had my earbuds in, and that's a lot of the time when I was listening to those songs is that's when I discovered the music that I liked. So, yeah,
I definitely feel that.
Especially I guess growing up in New York City too, surrounded by just creativity, and that city is so known for. The people that it produces. Mm-hmm. So I think just even immersing yourself in an environment like that pushes people to be more creative.
For sure.
I feel right?
Yeah, definitely. What's your music taste? What type of music do you listen to?
That's good. That's another loaded question. I'd say I've gone through phases. So when I was first getting into music, I would say classic rock stuff. I was really into Pink Floyd. I was really into some grunge stuff like Pearl Jam, Nirvana. I could go.
I feel everyone starts with that too.
Yeah,
I know I did too.
I feel
you always start with the rock stuff, and then you go into 90s hip hop.
Yeah.
And then like over time you just keep like going in a chronological order until you reach like, oh wait, there's stuff being released today.
Exactly,
Like, that's crazy.
exactly.
I'm gonna listen to that.
Yeah. Like the Led Zeppelin shit and like all that stuff. Like that's what I started off with for sure. And then I'd say like college I segued more into like rap. I didn't really listen to a lot of hip hop, a lot of rap. But then I like recently just started getting into like MF Doom and like I could go on Joey Badass, 90s stuff like Tribe Called Quest I'm really into right now. Yep. In college I discovered like Frank Ocean. That was just like which I feel like everyone has had that Frank Ocean moment. Yeah, but I also listen to like singer-songwriter stuff. Like I love Bon Iver, I love Ben Howard, Sufjan Stevens is really great. I dabble with a little bit of jazz too.
Yeah, what kind of jazz?
Cool. There's this one jazz album that I am like obsessed with. I've been obsessed with it for like years. It's like Space 1.8 is what it's called, and it's like ambient jazz.
Oh,
and it is like really like one of the most like you can really immerse yourself in that. It's just the music, and it's like I really like the twist that this person put on it. Her name is Nana Sinefro, and she was like 20 when she made this, and I was like,
I'm your age. How
yeah,
the hell do you have those
exactly,
ideas?
exactly.
That's insane.
Dude, I mean, I love like listening to like instrumental music, especially like in the past like 2 years. And what I've done recently, my favorite, like, do you guys like drive? Like, do you have a specific like driving like genre that you drive to?
Yes,
like,
I do.
Like I have like a specific like type of music that I love to drive to. It depends like day or night, right? But I have been playing Spanish TV show themes. Let me put you on. Let me put you on. Look up. Let me like get the song right here. There is so many good songs. So first one, first one is called. I'm gonna butcher all these names, bro, because I don't take Spanish. But I'm gonna give you the people's names. So Giuliano Sorgini. He has an album that's really, really good. It's Pink and Green. I don't have the name of it, but you'll see it if you look it up. And then Natashka Main Theme. That's a good one. That's probably a Spanish movie, I think. Piero Picconi and Alberto Baldun Bembo with Obolo. Look those artists up. I'm putting you on right now. This music is crazy. It feels like you're in like a Spanish, like, I don't even know, bro. It puts you like on vacation.
I was not expecting you to say that. I can tell you that much.
But that's my top driving music right now, because it just like, puts you in the zone. Long drive, boom, pop that on.
I like that question.
Fire.
Honestly, though, I laugh when you said that because I like Barely Drive.
Yeah, I mean,
you in New York, bro?
I like it Barely Drive. I have a license. Do I use it? No, I don't use it. But like the feeling that you get when you listen to music when you're driving is like the feeling I get when I listen to music like walking around, taking the subway or something. Yeah. And I think like that's like a big part of like when I was younger why I got
traveling with music is such an interesting
it's
crazy. It's such an interesting situation because like it puts an image or a time to the music, and it's so like when I hear music sometimes that takes me back to a certain moment, and it's just amazing like what music can do with memory. You know? I think it's really cool.
Definitely. And I think it also just like it makes it feel like you're in a movie. Like your whole life just feels like all the music that you listen to, it just feels like a soundtrack to your life. And that's like my favorite part about it personally.
I just wish the camera was like following me around.
I have a whole playlist called Coming of Age Film. Like, just
Is that out?
No, that's probably just gonna be for me.
Oh,
but yeah, like it's definitely. So I know you had the download pass when like all you need to know about the music industry book since you were like 13. You told me that. So like other than that, like what's inspired you to really like pursue the music industry and like get out there and just?
I don't even know. Something just drew. I've always been drawn to it. I can't like pinpoint a specific moment, but I feel like I also played music too. Like I played guitar, I played trombone, but I always knew that like I always had fun playing, but I always knew that I wanted to do like the other stuff. I don't know exactly what it is at all, but I think one day I was always looking for new music, and then I just started doing research on like what jobs you could have in music, and there was like a specific website for it. I don't think it's up anymore, but I just remember like scrolling through that and being like, "Oh, I want to do this."
Sounds cool.
Yeah, exactly. I was like,
Well, you
this
told
would
me
be
that
so
you had
great.
like the Donald Passman book when you were like 13. You were like, all
I
in.
mean, like I think it was like the 2016 edition. I don't know if that exactly adds up to that age, but I was on the younger side for sure. And like, I went to Barnes and Noble like with my mom, and I like bought the book, and I tried to read it. I did read it. Did I? Did
you take a lot away
understand
from it?
Nah, probably not.
For those
that.
of you who don't know, Donald Passman wrote a book that's called "All You Need to Know About the Music Industry."
It's like the Bible.
And pretty much every class here
Yeah.
mentions
Their whole class
that.
Yeah.
And it's like the holy grail of music industry knowledge.
It
so
really is.
Definitely.
to put a little context behind
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I feel like you kind of have to grow into it though, because I was like I had that book like starting out in high school, and it was just like just words,
A lot of jargon.
Yeah.
But like now I feel like as we take the classes, I start to understand certain aspects. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay, and like just working in the industry through co-op and stuff, like
For sure.
definitely.
Don't tell anyone. I still haven't even looked at that book.
Dude, I'm going to
Bro.
let you in on a little secret. Me neither.
Caleb, did you?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah, but like, did you really?
Yeah, like I was trying to sell beats and stuff like in high school, so like I was trying to figure out, okay, like what if
Caleb
they
had the
steal my
Beat
stuff?
Stars up.
Like what if they steal my beats? Like what if they? So I'm
What
like,
can I do?
Like,
Guy went to a book.
Yeah.
then YouTube too, but yeah, and like, so what like actually like so I know like starting can be like the hardest part. So what actually got you to like say, okay, I'm about to jump off of this cliff and like manage an artist, have an artist's life into my hands? Like,
Yeah.
so.
Well, actually, that kind of like fell into my lap a little bit. I started off as like a talent buyer intern.
Okay.
I really wanted to do something like the summer of freshman year. I didn't want to wait for co-op. So I like did research on I did the whole LinkedIn, Indeed, like applying to labels and things. I had no experience at the time, so it was kind of difficult. So I had to like pivot my strategy a little bit. I made a list of a lot of the music venues in like mainly Manhattan and Brooklyn, and I started like cold calling them and just saying like my pitch, like, hey, I'm trying to get my foot in the door. I really just want hands-on experience. I remember like I called specifically, I remember one of them. I called Blue Note up.
Oh my
and
gosh, dude.
They were not having it. They were
Really?
like, they were so dry. They were like, it's on our website. And I was like, yeah, I know. I applied on your website. But then I called up this venue that's been around since like the 70s. It's called Cafe Wa. I gave them a call, and I was able to talk to their head talent buyer, and his name is Drew. He gave me a chance, and they also had another venue a block away. They were owned by the same people. So that's really where I started to get like my first real experience in the industry was at those two places. I guess bringing it back to like the management question, my first project for that internship was to book a show. And it's actually kind of a funny story because Control the Sound is the band that I manage now. It was the band that I first started managing. I still manage them. I actually went to this like event for my girlfriend's cousin who was in a band called Matter of Minutes, and they were doing this thing at this like organization called Kids Rock for Kids. And this was actually before she was my girlfriend, so it's pretty funny. I was like, okay, I'll go to this with you. Yeah. So I went to go see like her cousin, and I wasn't expecting anything of like a show put on by an organization called Kids Rock for Kids. Like I wasn't expecting anything. But as I was sitting there, they started from like kids ages like 5, and they work all the way up to like seniors in high school.
Right.
And he was like a junior in high school, so I stayed like the whole time. And I remember the headliner was a band called Laundry Day, who actually has like a hit song that like blew up on TikTok. It's
Really?
like it's called Friends. So I was like, oh, they have like legit bands up here too. So I like wanted to hear them. And right in between her cousin playing and Laundry Day playing was Control the Sound. And when they performed, I was like, damn.
These guys are legit.
These guys are so good. They were better than Laundry Day, in my opinion. The energy, I've never seen a frontman that could rap and play guitar in that way. He like does both
At the same time.
That's and I was like, these guys are really talented. And then you got like Audrey, who's the bassist, her energy with the crowd, she's an amazing musician too. And then you got like Carter on the drums, and he's an amazing musician as well, but like also he like can rap while drumming, which
Dude,
is like
doing,
not easy.
Like vocals while playing an instrument, I don't know if people know how hard that is. Like it is so hard. You have to think almost in 3 different ways. I have trouble playing the piano.
Exactly.
Like,
it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And I feel like for a drummer it's even harder because with for drum, I feel like drums is the only instrument, because I started out as a drummer. Like drums is the only instrument where like all parts of all limbs are doing completely different things. On top of that, you have to think about what you're like saying. So it's just
all
like,
4 limbs doing different shit, and now
Exactly.
you're thinking about being on time when you're
Exactly.
singing.
And also the drummer holds everything together. So if
Right.
the drummer fucks up, then everyone's
fucks
gonna
up.
fuck up.
Right.
So that's like especially impressive. But yeah, they were really great. And like I said, at the time I was interning at these 2 venues, and I was given the job to book a show. So this was about like a month after I went to that whole thing. And the first band that came into my head was them.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to book these guys. So I reached out, and we actually weren't able to get a show together before the internship was over. So I had to beg my boss at the time to like let me continue with this one project, even though the internship was over. And he gave me a bunch of dates, and then the band wasn't able to do those dates. And then he eventually was like, I don't know if it's going to happen. But then he wrote me, he was like, we can do the 1st. And the 1st of January is like known to be like not a great date, because that's like after everyone's partying on New Year's. Everyone's like hungover and everything. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like we're gonna try. So Control the Sound was able to do it, and this was my first show ever. It was at their sister venue called Groove. They came through. It was like a sold out show. It was like it was like honestly like one of my favorite moments so far of like just
seeing that all come to fruition. And it's sold out.
Like, it was sold out.
Cherry on top.
They played amazing. And then you had like people on the sidewalk, because this place is street level. You had people on the sidewalk looking through the window. They like couldn't fit any more people into the room.
Crazy.
You know what's one of the coolest things? Just a branching off point. When venues do that in Nashville, like on Broadway in Nashville, the windows are all open.
Yeah.
They're playing outside to the people like on the street.
That's
it's so cool. That vibe is like my favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite
exactly.
vibe. Favorite vibe.
Because you're getting like everyone into it.
Yeah.
And when you're playing music and you have that kind of draw from people, it's just like, it's special, you know? So after that show, I was speaking with, it's like a family situation. They've been playing together since they were like kids. The bassist and the guitarist, they're cousins. their parents got involved with setting them up stuff throughout their childhood. So I was speaking with their dad, who was pretty much like their manager. He's still like, we always work together on stuff. I was like, you know, my internship here is about to end, but you guys are wonderful. Like, you guys did really well. And he was like, I'd want to work something out with them. I was like, sure, we'll be able to work something out. And I kind of like dropped a hint in there that I wanted to like work with them. And at the time, the main thing in my head was pitching to the place I was working at for an extension. So
was that this summer or last summer?
This was last summer.
Okay.
So summer of freshman year. So the thing on my mind was pitching an extension for the job, which I ended up doing. It didn't work out. But what's really funny is after I got off the phone, about like half an hour later, I got an email from the band, and they were like,
join us.
Kind of, yeah, because I had showed my interest. And about like a couple weeks later, I think we all met up in the city, and it became official. So that's how I started managing them.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And then
That's
like
insane.
you told me the story about the Apollo Theater show.
Yeah.
This is such a cool live show. If you don't know about it, the Apollo Theater does this show. I'll let Alex explain it a little more, where they bring in bands and you basically register yourself pretty much.
Amateur night?
Amateur night.
Amateur
yeah.
night. Okay, so amateur night is like this whole elaborate, like glorified talent show that the Apollo Theater puts on. The Apollo Theater is like the one in Harlem, like the iconic venue. You know, they've had so much impact on the community, the city, outside of that as well. So yeah, they put this show on. It's really popular. Now I can't take the credit for Control the Sound getting on that, because they actually used to do there's like a kid version of it that they grew up doing.
So they had the connections.
So they had the connections. They didn't even have to audition.
They just kind of.
They just were able to get on. Yeah, so it was their first year doing the like the adult version, which was really cool. Like, but they also do like side things with the Apollo, and I've started to like work with people there and collaborate with them. Yeah, which has been really great. The other artist I managed, Carlia, who I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah.
I thought she would be perfect for this. While I was watching Control the Sound perform for Amateur Night, I texted her and I was like, you have to do this, especially since she's a vocalist, and that audience eats that shit up. Right. But also what's really cool about this show is what's really cool and uncool about this show is that the audience is encouraged to boo off people. So if you're absolute garbage, they'll let you know. They like want to. They're like looking for someone who they can absolutely like shit on and kick off the stage. So that's something that is definitely unique about that show. But that did not happen to Control the Sound, I could tell you that much. But there was like some people that tried to do comedy and they were fucked. They instantly got booed off.
That's crazy.
So yeah, actually Carlia is due for her Amateur Night performance. She auditioned.
Oh, really? Because you got that email, right?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I told her to audition, and she went all the way to New York. She's a Philly-based artist. She went all the way to New York, auditioned, and they told us that they'd get back to us in like 3 weeks. Like 3 months went by, and we were like, okay, we didn't get picked. But then she gets an email, and I give her a call. I work through her email sometimes, and she was at work, and I was like, guess what? You're not going to believe this. Like, you made it. Like, you're going to be performing in February, which was like such a big win. Yeah. And in between then, I've done some side stuff with the Apollo as well. Nice. A couple weeks ago, I got a phone call. They wanted Control the Sound to do this like test run of this new theater that they're opening up, like right next door. It's called the Victoria Theater. So they were able to do that So like little things like that
Yeah.
like are really cool.
That's
Yeah,
fire.
some small like
Yeah.
little shows.
I'm
get
all
you
for
going.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
intimate vibes.
Yeah.
The
But
best
dude,
for-
so let's get into Carlia a little
Yeah.
bit more. She just released an EP, which I'm
She
sure
did.
we want to talk about.
Yes.
Kind of walk us through the process, maybe of being a manager and helping an artist, achieve that creativity,
Mhm.
and pushing the artist to, create some great stuff.
Yeah. So I will say Carlia released an EP. It's titled In Time. It's really, really good. Definitely
Take
check
a listen,
it out.
guys. It is so
Definitely check it out. She is incredibly talented. Her vocals are insane. Her writing is insane. It's really, really great stuff. So when I first started working with Carlia, she had these songs on the table already. They'd been sitting for about, I don't know, for like a good amount of months. She works with her producer. His name's Nathaniel. They're like partners.
good. Okay.
So she told me that she wanted to release this EP. And so basically when I stepped in, it was to help her with the process of the rollout. So we kind of worked together and we would have meetings and, organize, okay, we need to make this post on this day. We got to get some kind of PR for the release. There were 2 singles that were released. And then it was like the EP was like the big release.
Mhm.
So we had to go through that whole process. As far as like creating the music, I was not working with her at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, now that it's out, where we have this Apollo thing, and then, I'm excited to work with her on.
And you're pretty
some
into
other
like the
stuff.
live stuff.
Right.
So, creating a show or creating a set,
Mhm.
that one, lets the artist be themselves, but also engages the audience in a different, interesting way. What are some of the ways that you've seen be successful in that and create shows that have lasting memories
Right.
and impacts on the audience and the artist too?
Yeah. So honestly, with the shows, you just kind of have to keep some kind of structure. But other than that, you have to let the artist do what they do. At the end of the day,
Mhm.
like
It's
if
their
you're-
show.
Right.
Yeah, it's their show. Like they're gonna, give the audience the memories and all of that. So basically, what I do is I'll talk with them about who they want on the bill, who they don't want on the bill. It's a lot of like scouting for the
Logistical
right
stuff.
place. Yeah, and then essentially after that, like they make the sets. I'm not involved
Yeah.
in that. Maybe sometimes I'll have a little input of like, oh, we did this cover last time. Do you guys want to do a new cover or something like that? But that all kind of comes naturally. So basically what I try and do is give them a date, give them a place, and whatever they want to do with it, like,
Let them.
yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, if you really believe in the artist that you're working with, like, you're not going to try and control every little thing that they do. So, I mean, I've booked most of my shows with Control the Sound, and they always have a great performance.
And definitely, I feel like it's like with anything, like practice inspires confidence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like the more times that you're going to do a live show, and I'm sure it's for you as well, like on the back end of it, the more times you do it, the more confident you are that, one, the show's going to go well,
Exactly.
but 2, it's going to be a unique experience.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have too much experience in the live area, but I think it kind of applies to the music industry in general. Like, preparation breeds confidence.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I got to say, I put a show together at World Cafe Live last year,
Mm-hmm.
and that one is one I was particularly nervous about because I was bringing Control the Sound as a headliner,
Yeah.
and they had never done a show in Philly. They mostly do their shows
York.
in New York. But that's actually how I became Carlia's manager, which is really cool. So I can get into that a little bit. Essentially, I wanted to bring Control the Sound to a new audience.
Right.
So I wanted to set up a show at World Cafe Live. And in putting the bill together, I'd asked some Philly acts, but the main person I had in mind was Carlia, because I saw her play at a Drexel event called Sonic Soup in my freshman year. And she actually was a fill-in for someone that was sick.
Last minute?
Last minute.
Wow.
In freshman year. And when I heard her sing, I was just like, damn, she's really great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was with a friend at the time. I was like, what's her deal? Like, where's she from? Like,
Yeah.
you know, who's she working with? And at the time, I think my friend had told me that she had a manager. I was like, all right. And this was before I was even managing Control the Sound.
Yeah.
But I
You're
always
just
kept her in
getting
my
into
head.
it, yeah.
And the specific thing that was in my head was that she wasn't even like a music industry major,
Mhm.
which I found to be really funny. I was like, wow, she's like better than everyone that just performed. She's not even a music industry major. Anyway, so this is like over a year later, and I'm putting the show together, and I reach out, and it took me a little while to get a response, but then she finally responded. And so, yeah, she was part of that bill. She brought like a 6-piece band with her, horns, like the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
And it was really, really great. And then also on that bill was an artist that she's friends with. Her name's Andrea Bahar, and she's also popping off right now. If you check her on Spotify, her numbers are always
Going up.
Yeah. So she was the opening act. She did like a toned down, just, you know, her and a guitar kind of set.
Was
and
this in the lounge?
It was in the lounge.
I
yeah.
love that space.
It's a good space.
It's I mean, for me personally, like I just love like the intimate, like concerts like that. Like it just makes me feel like so, like close to the action.
For
like,
sure.
Like when it's right in front of you. I'll go into a story, but
Okay.
finish
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I just thought of a good one.
That honestly is just like, that was such an amazing show. Like that was one of my favorite shows that I booked, was because it was in like a new environment, and when you take into account that I brought Control the Sound to Philly, it was just like
Kind of like a
overall-
full circle moment. for
Yeah,
you, right?
it was really great. And then after that show, I was like, okay, I need to talk to Carlia, because my mindset was like, okay, I'm gonna book her for the show, and then after the show, I'll make, you know,
An
start
offer,
talking.
right.
Yeah, exactly. So then we started working together about like a month after that or something.
And that
and
show
it's
was
been
last
really
spring,
great.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, in May.
So it's been what, about almost a year, probably. that
It's
you've done
been
the show.
like, I've been working with her like 6 months.
Okay.
6 months around there.
All right.
Control the Sound, we're getting up on like a year.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And
Fire.
it's like in such a short time period, like to do some of the stuff that you've been able to do, I
Right,
think is
right.
really impressive.
Thank you.
like,
It's crazy,
super impressive.
I try my best. You know?
And there's 2 artists too. Like I
Yeah.
know a lot of people like they start out with one and they have one for a while. Like
Mhm.
like juggling 2 is like crazy. How, and what were you gonna say? Like, cause I felt like I cut you off.
No.
Alright, yeah,
You're
'cause-
good. You're good.
Yeah, because I feel like just juggling two artists can be just like a crazy experience. How do you manage?
Well, the thing is, when I work with Control the Sound, they're all in different places. So you got like Elijah, who's the guitarist lead singer. He's in Boston. Audrey's in LA. Carter's in New York. So we coordinate like via Zoom. So I wanted to work with someone like, you know, in person as well. And I'm kind of able to juggle them both because, you know, management at this point with a smaller artist, it's not like extremely time consuming.
Right.
Like things will pop up every day, but like it's not like things that are going to take like so many hours. And my whole mindset with like, obviously right now I'm not like established, but
Yeah.
I know that I have to do like as much as possible if I want to get to that point. So I don't want to like just take my time on everything and wait. I mean, like, that's why I went after like that internship in freshman year,
Yeah.
because I was like, if I wait now, I'm going to be so screwed later because the major is not enough.
Yeah.
you
Right.
know?
I think that's like a general theme, kind of,
Yeah.
especially just
Yeah.
in the industry and any creative industry. Like the tools are just right in front of you. You just got to do it.
Exactly.
Like, you just got to do it, and everything that you're going to get along with it is just an additional knowledge-based thing. But if you don't go out there and, you know, one, fail, which we kind of talked about last week, but two, just like learn from those experiences, success or fail.
Yeah.
like that's the key.
Yeah.
I think that's really the key
I totally agree.
to achieving goals in general.
And I've had those moments where like I was really excited about something and like it fell through like completely. And I've had shows where like there was an act that, you know, I coordinated with and I booked and they were like not good.
Yeah.
And like I've had those moments. Even recently there was like an opening act and he was like he was like being extremely difficult and like not nice. So like you run into those things and honestly like I'm like happy that I have, because you're working in the music industry, you're going to run into people that give you problems all the time. You're not always going to like have your way with everything, you know. So, you know, those things happen and you learn from them for sure.
Trudge through.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
We forgot to do something earlier in the show, which we usually do, and it's a little bit of a fit check. We'll get a little guest fit check going too.
I thought this was last on the
I did
thing today.
Is it last? I don't know.
I mean, we can run it now.
I kind of
We
want to
can
just run it now
let's
because
run
I
it.
see you sitting and I remembered that we should have done a fit check, but now we got Alex, and I think we can get Alex to give you a
All
guest
right.
fit check
We
too.
got some-
I mean, I'm always ready.
All right,
All
let's
right,
go.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Ba-dum-bum-bum,
Got some elite feats today too.
New edition today. We're going second camera angle.
The
Yeah,
back
record
camera.
that.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. You know, guess what pants?
The Dickies.
Dickies. I got the lighter blue ones today. I got my jacket. Guess where from?
Dickies.
No.
Carhartt.
No.
Let's see. Abercrombie and Fitch.
No. I'm not that white. It is from Gap. That's way whiter than Abercrombie. But look at the kicks though. I got the Nike
He had to pull out the new
Future
kicks.
Birkenstock Bostons from 2082.
Bro, I saw those online.
No, you didn't. All right, that's what we're rocking with today.
Bruh.
I like it. That's honestly
What I
probably my favorite fit so far.
Wait, did we give a score?
Out of 10.
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
And it's because of
Okay.
the shoes, bruh.
Yeah, I like the
Like-
shoes.
All right, the GDs are dirty, but they're not that fucked up.
What's the score? Who's giving the score?
I'll go first. I'm usually harsh on Dan. I haven't given above a 7 yet, but I'm going to go 8.1 today.
That's unbelievable.
Wow. I think I'm gonna go 7.
Clip that.
Clip it.
7.4.
You got reverb
today.
on your fucking...
Nah, I think I just yelled too loud.
Man, okay, wait. You said 7.4?
7.4.
Okay.
On mine.
I'm gonna give it a nice 8. Solid.
Yeah.
Solid 8.
Guys, I'm on the come up.
Who am I to like judge anyone's outfit?
Yeah, you're wearing Knicks gear.
I am wearing
Boo.
Knicks gear. Well, watch that.
Big
that.
OG Ananobi fan.
I wasn't at first, but don't get it because then I'll get off topic if
I
we start
know.
talking about the Knicks for sure.
I guess like the main thing that I want to know is because I know how it can be like managing, like working with different like personality types. So I guess like what's the hardest and easiest part about managing an artist?
The hardest and easiest part.
Okay.
That's a good question.
That is a good question. I'd say like coming in, especially if they're already like doing music, like prior to working with you, which is usually the case. That's always a tough part because like they don't know you that well. You know, all of a sudden you're coming in and you're like trying to help with decision making and planning and things like that. So finding like a balance is always difficult, and it's honestly something that I'm always trying to work on even now, because like even like the work I'm doing with Carlia and Control the Sound is like Control the Sound. I just came up on like a year of working with them, so it's like still very fresh and new. So it's just like finding that balance of like not overstepping, not being controlling, but also like getting like establishing like a respectful relationship and something that can become productive.
Collaborative.
Exactly. So always finding that balance at the beginning, I think, is like a little difficult, but I think like that's just something that happens unless you're maybe like friends with them.
Right.
But even if you're friends with them prior, that could sometimes make it even more difficult. I haven't had that experience really, but I've heard from other people. But that's what I would say is like the hardest thing, is like developing that relationship. The easiest thing, like I said earlier, is like, if you really believe in your artist, then just let them do their thing. And that's the easiest thing, is like, Control the Sound, like, they send me demos and I'm like, this is amazing. And I didn't have to do anything at all. I didn't have to talk to them about it or any of that. Maybe I like set up like a date where they should record, but that's about it. Like, just letting the artist like do their work and create. Like Carlia, like I said, had this whole EP before I even got my foot in the door with her, and I was like, this is really amazing.
You need to release this right
yeah,
now.
exactly. I was like, we gotta release this. So yeah, I would say that's the easiest part for sure, because like, I think sometimes people like will find an artist that they think is like cool, but you really have to find an artist that has a different, unique sound, because if they don't have a unique sound, they're just going to get lost in the mix. So if you don't have, if the artist you're working with, if you don't have to tell them to be unique because their stuff is just already different and new and fresh, like that's like the perfect situation.
That's the secret.
Exactly.
Secret ingredient.
Yeah.
You know?
And what's really cool about, you know, how I discovered them was like, it wasn't through me like searching on Apple Music or on Spotify. I've always been kind of like into naturally finding new music. I didn't even have like a streaming platform until like my junior year of high school. I had like iTunes gift cards, and I would like go and buy music on iTunes. So like,
so retro now.
But it's just like
Stone Age.
Yeah, exactly.
iTunes.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, a lot of my favorite music is stuff that like was playing while I was hanging out with friends or like something like that. That's like my favorite way of discovering new music. And the fact that I was able to find Control the Sound on like a random day, and I was just like, wow, look at these guys, and was able to actually work with them is great. And then the fact that I was able to put a show together with that band and then discover another artist who I
in
thought
that same
was
show
really, really great, and then work with her. I mean, like, that's just like a great situation.
And working with Carlia, would you say like your bond has like gotten strong? Like, what types? Like, because I know like, I fucked up the question.
Wait, I think I can pick up this question.
Yeah.
Like, cause I also manage some artists, and like all of them are like really good friends of mine. And the first time I like really like locked in with someone who wasn't a really good friend of mine was Luke Santana, and then now since I met him and since we've been working together, we've gotten super close.
Yeah.
Is that like similar to what's happened with you and Carlia, or is it still kind of business?
I think at the moment it's still kind of fresh, so I would say I would say that we're friends.
Right.
I wouldn't say that we're like super close friends or anything like that, but I would say we're at the point where we like respect each other and you know, and we're friends. You know, we go and we meet and we talk about, you know, what her future goals are, things like that. But yeah, also it's just like 6 months in, so. But also that was a different experience because I had worked with Control the Sound and still do work with Control the Sound like at a distance. So working with Carlia was like a different experience for me because we're able to like actually meet up in person, which has been really great because that's something that I wasn't able to really do prior. So that for me has been like really great because
I think being in person, at least like creativity wise, like I don't get any like juice going off of like a Zoom meeting or
it's
like,
tough sometimes.
Like it's really hard to be inspired when you're not physically around other creative people. Like for me, like I like love to feed off of you know, other people's creativity. Like seeing other people do really cool stuff inspires me to want to do cool stuff like that. And when you know, when it's remote, it's really hard to like get that ammo to push yourself like that. And I mean, I think it's great. Like it's crazy how you did all this stuff with Control the Sound over Zoom. You know, like that, like to implement and achieve all that stuff in the year over Zoom, and then being literally across the country. I didn't even know that. That's like nuts. So, but like again, like you said, like being in person, at least like with us doing the podcast, it's been like great to do it in person, and you know, managing an artist in person and being super, you know, not involved, but super, you know, dug in their future success, like I think that really is what pushes people to the next level, especially now when there's such a debate between remote work and in-person work, and people don't want to go in person. I think personally, I like being in person just like pushes everything.
It's just more natural too. Yeah, I prefer it. The only thing that I like about remote work is the fact that I can possibly like work a job in the industry and do school at the same time. But other than that, I'm not really interested in working a remote job. Like I really want to be in the scene. Like I've kind of tried to immerse myself as much as possible within the scene and take advantage of the fact that I have a place to stay in New York and like really like
immersion is such like a key word. I think like creatively, like if you really wanna do something, you have to immerse yourself. Like people who form new genres or elevate smaller niche genres are those people that truly 100% immerse themselves in that space and realize, okay, I'm gonna do it this way. I know exactly what this space is because I'm I'm in it. I am it. I think that like really inspires creativity and innovation in a lot of spaces.
Also like major imposter syndrome. Like major, like pretending you know what you're doing when you have no idea what the fuck you're doing is like big too.
I think I've felt that like right when you get here too, like being a music industry major, right? And you come here and
I want to be A&R.
Yeah, and everybody else is already like, you feel like they're miles ahead of you. Yeah. And you're here like, what? Like, I'm not doing anything right now. Like, I don't know what I want to do.
Having Alex here is making me feel like that.
Dude's booking fucking Apollo Theater.
Like
we're sitting in the basement.
No more cool guests.
Thanks, guys.
You're really doing this.
But yeah, like I feel like it's like a lot of spaces, and it's gonna continue to be like that, I think. And maybe it's something that is always there.
I think so.
I think it's always there, probably.
Because I have that too. Like, there were people that got internships that I would have like died for, like this past summer. And I was like working at it was a cool venue. It's been around for a while. It's well known in the area, but like I want to work at a label. Yeah. Like that's what I want to do, big time. And I've always wanted to do A&R. It's funny because I feel like a lot of people are like, let's do it. I want to do A&R, and I'd be like, what does it even stand for? Like, But that's always been my end goal, and I want to be involved with labels and stuff like that. And all this other stuff is just kind of like I said earlier, like falling into my lap. Like, just like in me trying to achieve that goal, I've run into these other opportunities, and you can't just like not take them and expect to meet that end goal, especially when it's such a like sought after position. And also like a position where like it's not extremely clearly defined. Because I feel like A&R means so many different things today. And
every company has a different expectation of what an A&R does, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, but I wanted to go off one of your points there, and it's escaping me right now, but it was a really good point, and I forget it. So
it's all good.
It's all good.
I'll remember it.
Yeah. No, I did, because I know you talked about goals a little bit, like, and what you were saying. What are your like goals for this year? Like, what are your bucket list? Okay, like, I want to book Carly at here, or what are your?
My goal for this year, I want to put a name to what I've been doing. Okay. So far, I've just been managing, working out of like the artist emails and stuff like that. So I want to establish a like a company, like an LLC, and put a name to it. So that's one of my main goals. My other main goal is to get that label spot. Really, like, I want to possibly go abroad somewhere for co-op. So those are like
highly recommend.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go?
The thing is, I don't even know a lot about leaving the country. So the main place that comes into my head, and I think I've told you about this before, is like London, because like I can't think of anywhere else. But I also know that like the music scene in London is big. And I also think because like everyone still speaks English, and I think that would be like the most realistic place for me. But I've like grown up in like a bubble in the city and like haven't really left so much. So going abroad is something I definitely want to do.
Yeah.
for sure.
I remember what I was gonna say.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
You said it's fallen into your lap,
Yeah.
but I think the really cool thing is it didn't, because you pushed yourself into these spaces, and it only came about because you pushed yourself there, right? So it didn't necessarily fall into your lap. It, maybe a door opened, but it was because maybe you kicked it a few times.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It might have
I
fallen
like
into
that
your
phrasing.
lap. It might have fallen into your lap, but your lap was in the right place.
Yeah.
Like you put your lap
exactly.
Yeah.
I think, I wouldn't say that it fell into your lap. I think that's a key thing too. Because I feel like I've kind of experienced that a little bit too, and it's like, wow, kind of these, maybe this opportunity was just there and I took it, right?
Yeah.
But it was really only there because I sought it out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think that's an interesting way.
I appreciate that
think about
perspective
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What advice do you have to any aspiring talent buyers? Yeah.
I don't know if I'm in a position yet where I can give advice, but I guess I don't know. I want to give a good piece of advice because I feel like when through school we've gotten all the same shit, oh, you gotta be a people person, and oh, you gotta
develop your network.
Duh, I have to develop my fucking network. Of course I thanks for the valuable information.
I'm paying how much?
I guess maybe I'll rephrase one of those pieces of advice and just be like, you got to learn how to deal with assholes sometimes. Right. And I'm not talking about the artists I deal with. I want to make that crystal clear. But you will bump into people that are going to shoot your shit down and make it difficult for you. And if it falls through, they're not going to care if it falls through because what's it to them?
Yeah.
So you really got to push your stuff, especially if you want to be in an industry like this. If you want to be in the music industry, you have to be all in 100%. Mm-hmm. If you have any doubts, if you have any other interests that you think, oh, I might prefer doing, if you want to be in the music industry and be successful, that's your end goal. That's been my end goal for almost 10 years now. And I've always wanted to do it. And I just really can't imagine myself doing anything else. And in the future, if I end up not being in the industry, I'm gonna be super sad about it. But I'm gonna.
But it might be because something crazy happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You became a mega lottery ticket.
Yeah. even if that happened, I'd still try and make a label or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that I would say that's my major piece of advice. It's go all in,
right?
Because otherwise, if you don't have that mindset, I don't think it's going to work out.
Right.
So I've always
Totally
told
agree.
myself that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for coming on today, Alex. It's been
Thanks
a pleasure
so much,
talking
guys.
to
it's
you.
been a pleasure, man.
Our guest Alex, go check out his artists, Carlia
Oh,
and
can I
Control the
plug?
Sound. Of course.
Can I plug? Okay, awesome.
Plug.
Straight
This is
ahead.
cool.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead. I've been awkwardly taking glances at this camera
Look
the entire time.
dead into the
Okay.
eyes.
Carlia just released her EP In Time. It is really great. Take a listen. 18 minutes long. It's so good. It'll be the best 18 minutes of your life. Control the Sound also has music on the table. No announcements yet, but there are demos that are going to come to fruition soon. And if you want to hear music that you haven't heard before and the next big thing, listen to that when it comes out. So keep an eye on Control the Sound and Carlia. They're amazing artists. It's the future of music, the future of the New York City music scene, the future of the Philly music scene. Those two artists are key artists. So definitely check them out because they're super under the radar.
And stay updated on their shows too. Follow them on the
Absolutely.
socials.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they got some live shows coming up.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got some live shows in the works. Nothing official yet because we just came off of break, which was a whole bunch of shows during break. So probably during the springtime.
Yeah,
we'll
definitely
have
check
some
those
more.
out when they
Yeah,
come
for
up.
sure.
But thanks, Alex. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you guys so much.
And
This is so cool.
best of luck.
Thank you. Do I get up and leave now?
Yeah, walk out. Just
Walk out?
Just,
Yeah.
Okay.
Walk out.
Get the hell off our
I call
set.
it love, I call it hate.